Hi, I'm Vita Garrett, and you're living the low life.
Today on Livin' the Low Life, we check out those rides from way back in the day. They're known as the bombs, and in the world of low riding, they're the cars that started it all.
I plan to be buried in this car. I'm not gonna lie, once you drive one of these, you know, there's nothing else.
We like them slow and low, you know what I mean?
Pow, pow. This week on Living the Low Life, we're going back into time and checking out a lowrider that they call the bomb.
If lowriders began anywhere, at least I know that they were probably bombs.
I love the bombs. That's pretty much where it all started.
The bombs, they're like the grandfathers, you know, of the scene.
The bombs, the old cars, those are my favorite.
I mean, because you look at these cars, there's nothing else like it.
A lowrider bomb can date back to the 1930s. Some pass for restored factory cars, but they usually pack quite a few surprises.
In lowriding, the bombs are anything 59 and back. They're usually the more round cars, and lowriders like to keep them as original as possible.
Usually on bombs, you see just solid colors, and, you know, more of a stock paint job.
Some people don't want to tear up the bombs. They want to keep them more of a classic, you know, period-perfect car.
You probably won't find a bomb that can bounce like these competition hoppers.
I like the hydraulics, they're fun to watch, but driving one is a real pain. They kind of wiggle around the road, so I like the bombs.
So I ended up, you know, getting into the lowriding scene after I stopped the hydraulic scene, which was one interest, but now I have a different one, so the cruising thing is what I prefer.
Once you drive one of these, I'm not gonna lie, once you drive one of these, you know, there's nothing else.
Back in the 30s and 40s, stylish young Mexican-Americans dressed cool and drove cars like these. They were called Pachucos.
Now, back in the days, the Pachucos, they cruise low and slow. And today, there's a car club by the same name that keeps the tradition alive.
Pachucos, the zoot suit wearers, more were like they wanted to be different. They wanted to be apart from society. People weren't used to it. They didn't like it.
Back in their time, the Pachucos were a subculture even in their own community. They spoke their own dialect, they had their own look, and they weren't afraid to be totally unique.
Well, back in the olden days, the Pachucos got a bad rap on their name.
It was hard for a different race to be accepted at that time in Los Angeles or wherever it may be. They just decided, like, you know, well, you know, we're going to be treated different and we're going to be different. With the style of clothes, the way they spoke, you know, everything was in slang, the way they walked, and that's the way they presented themselves, you know what I'm saying? Pachucote, that's what it was called, you know? A real Pachuco, his style, and this is what I'm all about, whether you like it or not.
Today, a California lowrider club has adopted the Pachuco name and the Pachuco car, the Bomb.
For the Pachucos, our cars are pretty much 54 and older.
It's a name, you know what I mean? It's a, the car itself, you know, was a lifestyle at that time. As far as Pachucos now, I don't think there's anybody right now that can walk around and say, I'm a Pachuco, you know, as far as like how they represent themselves. Right? The times changed, you know what I mean? We're representing, you know, more like of the style of the car. But basically what we're all about is just, you know, unity, respect, and family. And that's pretty much what we represent, and we do it with our cars, you know what I mean?
Man, if that's not style, then nothing is.
There's a lot of people out there building beautiful bombs, but one of the best in the business is Jason Aramillo.
He's all about talent and tradition.
Here at this shop, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, we, even growing up, or guys that are into bombs, you know, a lot of these guys, you know what I mean, didn't really have a lot to go by as far as when they had to fix up their cars. I don't have no expensive paint booth. I don't have all the fancy tools. I do the best I can with what I got.
For Jason, it's all in the details.
Whether it's washing a car or rebuilding a whole car, it doesn't matter. It's coming out of my shop, it has my name on it, so I take pride in everything I got.
Check out his 41 Buick Super Coupe.
This belonged to my grandmother's brother, and I got the car. It was in pretty bad shape, but we kept it in the family.
Now that is a lowrider.
It's pretty much the style of the way the car's fixed up. It's a lot different than a hot rod. The hot rod era is more like speed. We like them slow and low, you know what I mean?
Slow and low is the name of the game here, because when you're driving cars this cool, you want people to have time to see your ride. But this crew does have something in common with the hot rodders, car clubs, and any chance to get together and show off their cars.
It's a 50 Fleetline Chevy, 4-door.
It's a 1951 Suburban.
I got a 1948 Chevy Fleetline.
This is a 1938 Chevy.
It's a 1949 Chevy Deluxe.
So tell me more about the club, the Pachucos.
We're a car club with a bunch of friends that like to get together. There's no kind of rules or anything like that. It's kind of just, you can make it when you can. Family's first right off the bat, But the reason why we all come together is family and for the love of cars.
Do you guys meet up like once a week or like once a month?
We meet up whenever we can. If there's something going on, the phone calls go out and we get together.
We don't have very many rules in our club, but one of them is it's got to be a bomb.
Tell me a little bit about your car. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a 1949 Chevy Deluxe. It's a two-door fastback. It's the first year for 1949 where they went to this style. I bought this 49 in October of 2006. It was sitting in somebody's backyard, wasn't running, it just was a mess. And we somewhat resurrected the car, and now I drive it all over the place. It's not complete yet, we still need to do a full restoration on it, but as you can tell, it looks pretty decent.
No, it does for only a year.
Right.
A classic bomb is sure to have all of the rare and vintage accessories.
Every little accessory that's possibly out there for that car, we're gonna snag it up and we're gonna floss it. What we call, dressing up our cars, you know what I mean? Just like the way we get dressed up, like Pachuco style, same way we do our cars, and that's what it's all about. That's the definition of a bomb.
Man, I got that fire.
One classic accessory would be a passing lamp.
I got that fire.
What this does, it gets mounted onto the driver's side of the bumper bracket in front of your vehicle. Most highways in those days were 2 lanes. You'd hit this light, it would tell the person coming the opposite way that you're gonna pass to either slow down or pull over. If you can find one, this goes anywhere from like $5 to $1,000, depending on what kind of condition it is. Another thing we like to fix up in the front are fog lights. It can pretty much go on any car, whether it's Buick, Chevy, Pontiac. And these are a hot item when it comes to dressing up your car too, because it just gives it that extra look in the front. These were available in the 30s and in the 40s. This is an Appleton spotlight. Back in those days, there wasn't really a lot of street lights, so maybe to, help you out vision-wise. These are pretty rare and expensive, $100 to like $300 or $400. Me, when I holler at the girls, they don't know who I'm talking to. I just shine this on them, and maybe it helps them.
One thing's for sure. If you got a bomb, you've got passion.
A bomb requires a committed owner who's beyond dedicated.
This car, I call it strong arm robbery because it's robbing every penny I got out of my pocket.
Yeah, there's a big prize for big style.
Tell me about this beautiful car.
This is a 1938 Chevy. It's got a picket visor. These were very rare in the 30s. It's got the dual spotlights. It's got the fog lamps, the A bar. The B sticker on there was back in the 30s, they had a ration on gas. So if you had an A or B on different days, you would have to be able to, you'd be able to get your gas.
Where did you find a car like this?
We found this car in a wrecking yard back in Sacramento. And then my brother had got it, and I bought it off of him. And then I restored it. It didn't have no windows, it didn't have nothing, no chrome. I started looking through the eBay and buying parts here and there and restored it completely.
So how long did it take to restore?
About 5 years.
5 years? Whoa! Pop, pop.
There you go, now hit it down. There you go, so now you're all the way down.
Nice.
We drive it all over. I got all my heart and soul into this car. I mean, if this car could talk, you know, you hear all the stories of Al Capone, Bonnie and Clyde. This car could tell it. This car was there.
Accessory-wise, these bombs are cool in more ways than one.
These cars didn't come with air conditioning or anything like that, so the only air conditioning you really had was to roll down your windows or to run a fan like this. It's vacuum driven. You adjust the speed by opening and closing the valve. If you could find those, 75 to maybe 150 bucks.
And for something with a little more kick to it,
you see these on a lot of bombs, and what this is that it's a car cooler. And basically, they sit on the outside of your car on the window. In this little porthole right here, you can either put ice, I don't know, I've been told ice, I don't know how you're gonna get ice in there, but usually it's water. And when you're driving, air goes in through here. This is on the inside of your vehicle. You open up the vent, cold air comes in. Something like in this condition right here, $300-400 bucks. Another thing too that's pretty popular for the 30s, early 40s is compass. I don't think they had GPS systems back in those days. Very rare, expensive when you do find them. This one's original in the box, $300-400 bucks for something like this.
there's a cost to staying stylishly on course.
Just like little things like we have compasses for like if you were traveling to find your way. And there is the viewfinder, because a lot of times when you have a visor, you can't really see out the car. So you would see, like if you're at a traffic light and you can't see if it's green or red, it reflects in there like red, and you would see it.
Some accessories are crucial.
We have different little accessories for it. Like you see a girl at a stoplight, you might do that, or hit the siren or something. Just different little things like that. Just, you do everything, you know, put your own twist on it, you know?
What's a bomb? You know, you're thinking exploding, you know, or detonating or whatever like that. Well, back in those days, you know, during the war or whoever, they had bomb raids. They had airplanes that were, you know, flying over, dropping bombs. The sound that you heard was a big crank. So being that our cars are considered bombs, we install these in our cars, so when we're coming to a car show or a park, we light these suckers up and we let everybody know that the bombs are coming.
It's easy to see why these cars get so much attention. Lowriders come in all shapes and sizes. But one thing is clear, they all owe a lot of respect to the past.
Whoever the guy was that came out with that first bomb and it looked like a lowrider, hey, he's the greatest, but he's no greater than the person that came out with the small tire. And he's no better than the guy that came out with the first hydraulics.
Build them as pretty as possible and beat the crap out of them. That's it. I love this.
So there's a lot of important things that changed, you know, and became this style.
It takes a certain kind of lowrider to get into the bombs, man, because it's you gotta have a lot of love for them. You know, these things, as meticulous as they are, it takes a lot of work to get them there.
Before I shopped for one of these cars, I was gonna buy me a new car. I said, why get a new one when I could just buy me one of these old ones, and a new one you can always get later.
They might take work, but they sure are fun.
You know, you go with lowriders nowadays, you know what I mean? Especially with the newer cars and stuff like that. There's only so much you can do with them. With these old cars, I mean, it's
So many accessories, right?
so many accessories, yeah, you know, you just... And the best part is trying to find them, you know what I mean? Because they're so old.
And it's not just the guys who love to build these beautiful cars. So, as a woman, how do you deal with all this?
I don't deal with it very well, honey, I'll tell you.
The arrival of Jason's mom reminds us that women have always been a welcome part of this car culture.
You get other people here that are involved in it. These are all family-oriented people, and we all get together. We have picnics. We bring the cars out, and everybody has a joy with it. There's nothing like the older car.
Having started on the warm West Coast, lowrider cruising is a big part of the culture, especially if your car can go topless.
I just gotta tell you, out of all these cars, I mean, they're all beautiful, but this is my favorite, I think, because it's got the convertible, and I love the color choice.
It's a 1950 Chevy Deluxe convertible.
And you don't have hydraulics or airbags in
No, I wanted to keep it original, real clean. Once you drive one, you know, you see how all the people appreciate it. You come to a stoplight or you're just driving, people are honking and waving. People appreciate them more now. Because they know how much time and effort and money it takes to have one, so, you know, it's nice when people do appreciate it because it is a lot of work.
Mira, burro, esta gente no sabe la que hay. Estamos ready, estamos ready, estamos ready, estamos ready. Esta es la que hay.
All right, on behalf of myself and all the club members here, we want to make you an honorable member of the Pachuco Car Club. So we hope you wear this with pride.
I will.
You know how much love and sweat and hard work we put into all our cars. And we know that when you wear this, you get all the respect and all the gratitude that we have to give you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Then I'll get me my own car.
There you go. When you're ready,
you can
go
help me.
We're here for you always.
The Pachucos and the Bombs are just part of the huge lowrider lifestyle. We're hitting the road to see even more of what's cool, in motion, and incredibly low. Bomb enthusiasts want to make one thing clear. A hot rod is a whole other car. Clubs like the Pachucos work to keep their rides as original as possible.
If you get into other cars, you know, they strip a lot of chrome off it and then they make it into hot rods. We try to keep it as much as original as possible. You know, look at these cars, it's all original. And that's what we're looking for. You know, the way we like to carry our cars. Low, slow, and that's where it's at.
It was the Bomb that started it all, creating a lifestyle around cool cars. And nowhere is that more clear than this intimate lowrider car show.
We call them classic lowriders.
We're here at a neighborhood auto show where a young car club assembles for a good cause.
I'm the vice president of Estilo Califas. It's a relatively new car club. We've been around about 2 years. This is our toy drive, our second toy drive. We've got about 15 members right now, and our majority is lowriders. Bombs, Impalas, got a couple of Fords, but...
Think something like this classic Suburban can't be a lowrider? Well, think again.
Suburbans were the quintessential lowrider probably in that time. They can carry a whole bunch of people. They got their picnic baskets in there. Yeah, Suburbans are lowriders.
There's cruisers, there's lowriders, there's hoppers. I mean, there's all different kinds of stereotypes for lowriding, but individually, I mean, when you get people that come together as one with a crew and a club and, you know, build cars and have an interest in cars, I guess you can kind of, you know, similarize it all and say that, you know, it's all just one thing. It's all just lowriding, basically.
And the great lowriders, well, they get respect and honors.
Pachucos! Woohoo! Yeah, it's not really my trophy, but it just looks good on my car.
The lowriders have been there from the beginning since, well, the Pachucos. And we just like to keep the tradition alive, show our kids that if we remember our past, that's going to show us to our future.
While some might say that the Bombs were the first lowriders, there are those who feel that this car culture as a whole is what it's all about.
We can sit here and talk about what the Bombs and how they dress and what they look like and who was the first one with hydraulics, tires, wheels, and were the Bombs the first cars. It's not really hearsay. You can just take everybody's stories and try and mash it together, but when it comes down to it, who cares? I mean, we're still here, though. That's the most important thing.
It's in my blood forever, I guess.
It's lowriding for life.
I was that kid across the street looking at my neighbors, man, wanting to be that guy one day with the lowrider, and here I am, and now I'm building stuff for my kids, and I take pride in it. I thank God for what I have.
The bomb is just a small part of this lowrider story. The lifestyle is about family, friends, tradition, and a whole lot more. And that's what we're all about. See you next week.
A lot of people confuse lowriding with gang members, and that's really not true.
Lowriding, I take it as an interest because it kept me busy, kept me off the streets, and focused more on wanting to build a car as opposed to going out there and gang banging and getting into trouble,
We love what we do. I don't know if we would call it a sport, but we do love the lifestyle.